to talk now to Philipp Rösler, who joins us on the move now. Philipp Rösler is the former Vice-chancellor and Minister of Economics and Technology in Germany. He's also involved in a digital venture in Asia and has developed digital initiative in Vietnam as well. And it's our great pleasure to have you with us. And I guess you're very well placed then to tell us, Philipp, what can we learn here in Europe from Asia? Because Asia is very much seen as a leader when it comes to digitalization.
Yeah, so first of all, Vietnam and East Asia and Asia is very entrepreneurial. And in addition to this, very dynamic, vibrant, and creative. And I think that's all the nice ingredients you do need for good business in the real world as well as in the digital world. And in Asia, they try to check it out from the very early beginning. They are so-called early adopter, and they don't ask if it's allowed. They say, as long as it's not forbidden, let's do it.
What about education and technology and all the things you need in order to get digitalization going? We've been hearing from people during the European Digital Day about the importance of education.
So I think education is really key. If you do see the next generation, the young generation, they all grew up with technology in life, in education, and we have to pick up. But at the same time, we have to train them how to do this, how to use it. And they don't need maybe the capacity for coding, but at least to understand how a computer works, what software is about, what hardware is, and how it works together. I think these are the basics. We have to educate our kids, the next generation, so that they can really grow into the era of fourth industrial revolution, which means everything which will digitalize, because we do need the digitalization and we do the next generation who's doing this.
Can you give us some examples of how Vietnam, for example, is leading when it comes to digitalization and how it compares with Europe?
They have an excellent infrastructure. You have almost everywhere 4G grid for the telecommunication. They have 97 million people. Average age is around 30. And almost each one of these 97 million people has a smartphone, not only a mobile phone, a smartphone. And they are trained to use it for public applications, for passports, but also for private use like entry tickets, banking, and so on. So they learn in their day-to-day life how to live and how to use digital things. And that makes them very entrepreneurial in addition to good entrepreneurial digital startup entrepreneurs in Asia.
And so do you think that's very different to how things are in Europe? Do we need to be more tech savvy on a day-to-day basis?
Education is one thing in school, it's English, and again, how technology is in general working. But at the same time, if you would like to have more entrepreneurial spirit, you cannot go into school and have a front lesson about education. What we should do is talking about success stories. We need sort of leadership for entrepreneurship by role model. And I think this is critical. And in Asia, all the people who are successful in the digital business, they are celebrated as heroes. And every young man and woman wants to be like the heroes are. So this is real leadership with role models. So they try to become also a digital entrepreneur. In Europe, we are sometimes a bit cautious with our success and we have been successful, and I think we need a sort of different mindset in order to foster and push forward the entrepreneurial spirit in Europe.
All right, so maybe Europe could learn a little about storytelling and leadership when it comes to the digital transformation. So what are the biggest challenges then that you're facing in Vietnam when it comes to that?
I think it's almost the same as we have it across the world. It's a question of having enough skilled workforce. So as you mentioned, I'm chairman of a small venture fund, and we have around 25 portfolio companies. And if I talk with the portfolio companies, they always say, we need more coder. We need more people who can work with the software, who can shape our applications, who can shape our business model. So it's really that we do need skilled workforce. And then it brings us back to education. That demonstrates how important education is for the entire growth of an economy. And so we're working on this by highlighting the good environment for skilled workforce in Vietnam, but in East Asia entirely. And I think we should do the same in Europe as well. Really, this question of skilled workforce is quite critical.
Yes, so how do we close the skills gap then? Because obviously it comes down to education, but we can't just put all our hopes on the future generations. How do we deal with that on a daily basis today?
I do know that there's an ongoing discussion also in Switzerland to have a sort of digital lesson, sort of mandatory in the schools in Switzerland. And this makes totally sense. Again, I'm not an expert to say what exactly they should learn there, like coding. I think this is maybe not enough, but really how to understand technology, because everyone is using technology, but the knowledge is way smaller than the time we are spending with our technology. So it would be very good to have this maybe in school, in the universities, and there you can even talk not only about the technology, but also the business model, which are potential for this exact technology. Let's say blockchain, for example, sort of new technology. What can you do as entrepreneurs with this new technology?
But what about our generation? I'm no longer at school. You know, how much emphasis should we be putting on lifelong learning?
That's also critical because, again, era of fourth industrial revolution means everything what can be digitalized will be digitalized sooner or later. But second characterization of the era of the fourth industrial revolution is the unprecedented speed. So we, in our generation, have to pick up with the speed, and we need some trusted sources where we can look into it and say, so that's how it runs, right? Let's speak for a moment on blockchain, right? To explain people in our age, blockchain is not trivial. And we need a source which we can trust, where we can learn something about technology. And it's not sufficient to have only things like Wikipedia, which is nice, but I think we need some sources, and we should have also some media creation around this kind of education. And it turns out that in Asia, these 1, 2, 3, 4 minute clips are very successful because people will learn a lot of things in these 3 minutes. They can learn how electro engine is running, but also how blockchain is functioning. So I think this is quite good, and we need more from that for our generation.
And can you just tell us, what are your hopes for the future then when it comes to digital transformation, both in Vietnam and in Europe?
I'm, as always, optimistic, and I do see that the next generation is really used to use technology. And I think they by themselves, they are asking for more lessons, new lessons in school, in the universities. They are curious. They want to check out new business models, new technologies. And I think if they get the right support from the legal framework, from the right infrastructure, as well as from the investment side and from academics, I think then we can create a great story out of this and turn it really into the good and let benefit the society from digitalization.
So if you were part of our audience today, what is the one thing that you would tell our audience to help drive digital transformation wherever they live?
First, identify good role models, talk about role models. And second, that's even maybe more important even, try to become by yourself a role model. Become an entrepreneur and create a success story and then talk about, and then be a witness of the success and the benefit for society of digitalization.
You make it sound so easy. Philipp Rösler, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.